You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account. From Apple to VIX and everything in between, if it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report. If you're listening to this show, chances are you're pretty serious about options trading. So let me put something on your radar. Public. It's the most cost-effective way to trade options. That's because Public is the only platform that gives you rebates on your options trades. They also have some of the industry's lowest index options fees. Whether you're placing single leg or complex multi-leg trades, every dollar counts. Check out public.com/optionsbrief and discover the most cost-effective way to trade options. Paid for by Public Investing. Full disclosures in podcast description. And now, get ready to scan the tape for the most explosive options activity on the street. It's time for the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody. It is time to get down to business on the Hot Options Report, kicking off the week here for Monday, July 28th. Let's start in the world vol, as we like to do here on the show. Was it a hot day in VIX options? You know what? We're heading into August. That means we're heading into the dog days of summer. Not usually a spicy period from an options volume perspective, and certainly not usually a spicy time from a VIX volume perspective. And that was indeed the case today. Only 339,000 contracts on the tape. That's against an ADV that I've been saying for a while is going to sink below 700K now, and that process has begun. 699,000 is the ADV out there in VIX land. What was the hot option, such as it was out there in good old VIX options today? It was 25,000 of the AUG 18 puts going up for about $1.69 out there. In fact, this was subject of a flash poll for us during our show earlier today, the option block. We asked you folks, do you like those? 20,000 of them traded for $1.69. Would you rather buy them or sell them? And right now, 71.4% of you want to sell them. Only 28.6% want to buy those puts. A little bit too rich for your blood, it seems like. By the way, VIX cash, of course, going out a little bit north of the 15 handle today. So those 18 puts, obviously pretty meaty out there as we keep on rolling out to SPY. Was it a more active day in SPY? The answer was yes, but still not hitting its ADV. Right around 7.1 million contracts on the tape in SPY. The ADV, 7.8. So another 700,000 contracts to go to hit that ADV. What was the hot option out there in SPY today? It was the 638 calls, going up 728,000 times. Even though it was a slower day, these hot options are still putting up very impressive numbers, 728,000 contracts. There are entire products that don't do anywhere near that volume. That's just the volume in one option in SPY. So that is impressive. And if you paid anything for those 638s, again, they're expiring today, and SPY went out, unfortunately, 636.94. So if you held them to expiration, unfortunately, no winner chicken dinner for you. Let's keep on going out to the S. Was it a decent day in the S? The answer was yes. The S within spitting distance of its ADV, putting up about 3.5 million contracts. The ADV, 3.6 million. So right in that range. The hot option out there in the S today, it was the 6380 puts. So going to the dark side out there in the S today. Where did the S go out, by the way? 63.89 and around 3/4. So once again, if you paid literally anything for those 63.80 puts today and held them till the end of the day, and they traded 162,000 contracts, so a lot of people did, then unfortunately, those went the way of the dodo for you. Let's keep on rolling out to small caps. Was it a decent day in small caps? It was decent, but had a little ways to go to hit its ADV. 932,000 contracts on the tape for small caps. The ADV, 1.35 million, so little ways to go to get there today. What was the hot option in small caps today? It was 119, almost 120,000 of the 225 calls again expiring today. So this is kind of a trend we've seen in small caps over the last week or so, switching from August downside to now 0-day upside, which is kind of interesting. 225 calls. Where did IWM go out? Unfortunately for everyone who traded those and held them to expiration, and certainly for all those who bought them. For everyone who bought the 225 calls out there today, and you held them till the end of the session, unfortunately, no winner chicken dinner for you. IWM going out 224.12 today. Let's keep on rolling out to the Qs. A decently active day in the Qs. 3.25 million contracts. The ADV 3.65 million. So coming in light, but not quite as light as some of the other names in comparison to its ADV. What was the hot option out there in the NASDAQ today? Well, it was the 568 calls going up 372,000 times. And guess what? We went out right pretty much at 568. 568.14 to be precise. So if you paid less than 14 cents for those bad boys and you held them till the end of the session, you had a slight smile on your face. I mean, you're not talking vast fortunes at the end of the day, but better to win than to lose out there. As we keep on rolling, did we all win or did we all lose on the top 10? The answer was not exactly a rock'em sock'em robots day out there. Let's hope earnings season can drive a little bit more paper during the rest of the week. It only cost you 427,000 contracts to break into the top 10 today. That gets us to our old pal Amazon. What was the hot option in Amazon today? This one kind of interesting. Breaking with tradition, breaking with the trend out there, not expiring at the end of this week, not the August 1st contract, but actually expiring in the traditional monthly, August 15th, 220 calls, going up nearly 55,000 times today. Very active contract out there. And where did Amazon go up? 232.79. So that's kind of interesting. I haven't had a chance to dig into this flow, but we see trades like this. Could be verticals, could be other things going on, could also be a stock substitution trade ahead of earnings. Want to take some of that upside off the table, and Amazon's had a good run of late, so I could certainly see that. Even if you're going to do stock substitution, usually go a little bit farther out and a little bit farther in the money. But nonetheless, in the money calls, dominating the tape out there in Amazon for the number 10 spot, listeners. Number 9, let's keep on rolling out to our old pal, Alphabet Class A. 459,000 contracts on the tape. The hot option in Alphabet, back to our regularly scheduled program, 195 calls expiring at the end of this week, going up 41,000 times. They have a little ways to go. Google going out 192, right around a half, so roughly $2.50 before the end of the week to get to that 195 strike. Can they get there? I guess we'll find out as we keep on rolling to number 8, our old pal Open, after debuting near the top of the list and then hitting the top of the list not that long ago, falling all the way, I say all the way, to number 8. It's still impressive that a name like this is in the top 10, listeners. A lot of you still slinging some Open. 470,000 contracts going up in Open today. The hot option, 53,000 of the 3 calls expiring at the end of this week. Once again, if you're buying those, listeners, looks like the average price was 16 cents. So if you're paying 16 cents for those bad boys, you got a ways to go. The stock, not your friend today, closing right around 234 today. So it's got a ways to go to hit the 3 strike. Then again, it is open. So literally anything could happen before the end of the week. So we'll keep an eye on this one as we keep on rolling out to SoFi, number 7, 487,000 contracts on the tape. A lot of that driven by some pre-earnings action out there in SoFi, earnings before the bell tomorrow. So hopefully if you wanted to trade options on SoFi earnings, you already did it. SoFi closing today right pretty much at the 21 strike, 21.02 to be precise. And Surprise, surprise, it was the 21 calls expiring at the end of this week, going up 28,000 times. That was leading the dance out there in SoFi today. We'll know tomorrow after the earnings announcement how those 21 calls are looking as we keep on rolling to number 6. Going back to Intel, making a few appearances in the top 10 over the last couple of weeks, including today, number 6, 523,000 contracts on the tape. The hot option in Intel today, another one breaking with the trend, going all the way out to monthly expiration. So apparently there are options in the chains beyond the weeklies and in the indexes beyond the 0-day options. There are other options you can trade, listeners. And folks, we're doing it today at Intel, 31, almost 32,000 of the 25 calls expiring again on regular August expiration. 25 strike. That looks like a very optimistic strike right now. Intel closing today a little bit shy of $20.70. So 25 strike by Aug expiration. Think we can get there, listeners? A lot of paper on that strike going up today for the number 6 spot. Number 5 going out to frequent offender Palantir. 638,000 contracts on the tape. What was the hot option in Palantir today? Nearly 53,000 of the 160 calls going out, of course, at the end of this week. Palantir closing today a little bit shy of 157.90 out there. So 160 is within spitting distance. Palantir can move a couple of dollars at the drop of a hat, so can easily get there by the end of the week. We'll keep an eye on those as we keep on rolling to another S, 4-letter S ticker that ends in an I, listeners. We already did SoFi. What's the other one breaking into the top 10 today? Good old SMCI, our old buddy, our old pal, SMCI. I haven't talked about them in a little bit, but breaking into the top 10 today, all the way at number 4, 872,000 contracts on the tape for SMCI. The hot option out there today, listeners, 76,000 of the 60 calls expiring when? Of course, at the end of this week. Why would you trade anything else out there, listeners? Worth noting, this is an earnings-driven paper. Earnings are not until August 5th, so a nice little shot in the arm for SMCI in an otherwise quiet period in the market out there from a volume perspective. As we keep on rolling, chip stocks looking good from a volume perspective today. AMD coming in all the way up at number 3 today. 1.17 million contracts on the tape. For good old AMD, what was the hot option out there in AMD today? It was the 175 calls expiring at the end of this week. The stock going out 173 2/3, catching over $7 to the upside today, about 4.3%. So a good little run here for AMD, catapulting them all the way up to the number 3 spot. As we keep on rolling to number 2, keeping it in chips. It's AMD's blood rival. Good old NVIDIA, yes, falling to number 2 today, putting up a little over 2, about 2.02 million. You know, it's a pretty quiet day when NVIDIA can barely put up 2 million contracts, listeners. NVIDIA closing today 176 3/4, up 3 1/4, nearly 2%. And what was the hot option out there in good old NVIDIA today? 160,000 of the 175 calls. So those are looking pretty good right now, even though the average price on those is about $270. So going out $1.75 in the money today. It's going to need to run a bit to pay those bad boys off. So we shall see. We shall see how it works. You like those 175 calls? In the money right now, listeners, so looking pretty good. Can they stay that way by the end of the week? I guess we'll find out as we roll on into our number 1, if it's not NVIDIA, and it's not open, as we've all learned lately, which can rocket into the top spot at any moment. What could it possibly be in the number 1 spot? Of course, it's our old pal Tesla. Bouncing hard off that par strike after their earnings. They hit the 300 strike on the back of one of their worst earnings announcements in about a decade. Rallying hard today on news of their chip deal with Samsung, putting up 2.12 million contracts out there, up $9.50, closing today, 325.60, pretty much up about 3% on the day. So a good day for them after hitting that par strike out there. And what was the hot option out there in good old Tesla today? It was the 330 calls going up 124, almost 125,000 times out there. And again, Tesla closing a little bit north of 325. It's got a ways to go to hit that 330 strike. Can it get there by the end of the week? Well, given today's action, it can get there in a few minutes. So a lot to keep an eye on. Stay tuned to the Hot Options Report throughout the rest of the week. And stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.